What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. We got a fun show today, a little light here. We're going to talk about potentially Antonio Brown signing with the Cleveland Browns, a sentence I don't think anyone in Cleveland ever thought they would say a couple of years ago, but the NFL's been pretty crazy this offseason. And then we'll look at Baker Mayfield trade destinations because the trail's gotten a bit cold on that front, so let's kind of spice it up a little bit and find some maybe dark horse candidates that Baker could be traded to. First, should the Browns sign Antonio Brown? Well, Cleveland likely cannot make any moves until they get Baker Mayfield's $18 million off their books, but that's not much of an issue for Antonio Brown, as Brown wants a commitment from a team before he gets surgery. So if you remember the whole Antonio Brown saga back in the fall, right, where he was tweeting out into the spring, into this year, tweeting out pictures of MRI and scans and whatnot of his ankle, and that's why he was mad at Bruce Arians and he came back too early. Well, Brown wants a commitment from a team before he signs because he doesn't want to be on the hook for his own surgery, and I kind of get that. But here's what Antonio Brown said: I need to get my ankle fixed, but I just want to make sure I got an obligation or a commitment from a team. It's a lot for a guy to go do surgery without an idea of where you're going to work or who you're going to work for. And that kind of does make some sense. I know it sounds a little, outlandish to be like, I want a job before I go get surgery, but I kind of see where he's coming from. Now, AB is not the person that we remember him as being a tormentor for the Steelers. In fact, his last season in Pittsburgh, 2018, right, 15 games, 15 touchdowns, but since then, kind of downhill. He did have a great, run in the end of 2020, helping the Bucs win a Super Bowl, 4 touchdowns, including a Super Bowl touchdown. This past season, not the same. That ankle injury and some other injuries popping up here and there have just prevented Antonio Brown from being that dominant wide receiver we all remember him being. So, would you want the Browns to sign Antonio Brown? Right? I mean, can you stomach that a little bit? Can you forget all the years him in Pittsburgh? Maybe Antonio Brown would want to come to Cleveland because he wants 2 shots at his old team, because Brown seems like he's that petty kind of a guy. I want revenge games. Let me beat the Steelers twice a season. Let me know what you think. Y for yes or N for no. Moving on to Baker Mayfield, as he is yet to be traded. It's going to happen eventually. Like, I joke every now and then of, what if Watson were to be suspended and Mayfield plays those games for his suspension to rebuild his image a little bit? I really don't see that happening, but it would be kind of funny and also be very Cleveland Brown-esque if Mayfield went undefeated in that span to force Stefanski to make a tough decision. So, as for where Baker's going to go, I got 5 teams, but it ultimately feels like a crapshoot, right? It kind of feels like where Baker gets dealt is a team none of us saw coming. Mostly because that was not their first option. Maybe their starting quarterback gets hurt in training camp and they you know what? We want to compete this year. Baker's the best starter out on the market. We'll bring him in. Or it's a team that's going all in on drafting a QB and all of a sudden some draft craziness, chaos happens and Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett's taken before them. So I'll rank my top Baker spots in order of likelihood, but it does feel like it's a crapshoot. First one, the Seattle Seahawks. One, I just don't see the Seahawks wanting to tear it all down and rebuild from the ground, right? This is a Seahawks team that doesn't really feel like they're going to go into the season with a ton of confidence with Drew Lock, who is currently the starting quarterback in Seattle. In fact, if you compare Baker to Lock, it's not much of a competition, right? If Seattle could pick one of the 2 QBs, they would pick Baker Mayfield. Now, would they pick Baker if it also included an $18 million price tag? That's where you get the hiccups. That's where teams go, ooh, we like Baker more than our current option, but we don't like him enough to pay him $18 million on 1-year deal and have to give up draft capital to get him. That's where you hit some speed bumps along the way. Another thought I have, though, just to talk maybe myself and any Seahawks fan / Pete Carroll listening, do you want to be a part of a rebuild, Pete Carroll? Like, we all saw the picture of all the coaches, except for a handful, at that annual meeting in Florida. Carroll looked old. Like, Matt Rule looked like he hadn't slept in a month. And Pete Carroll was like, damn, without the gum pacing up and down the sideline with a little bit of Seattle rain and a Seahawks rain jacket, he looked a little old. Does he want to be, at the end of his career hanging around with Drew Lock? Not saying Baker Mayfield's going to be moving mountains in Seattle, but he's a he's an upgrade from Locke. I don't think there's much question about that. Question I want to ask, though. Where will Baker be traded? That's one candidate I think the Seahawks. Let me know where you think he ends up. It'd be tough to say, but give it your best shot down in the comment section below. Next option, the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons move on from Matt Ryan, trade him to Indianapolis, and they bring in Marcus Mariota. I'm not really sold on the concept of second-year head coach Arthur Smith and the Falcons organization going all in on Mariota. So what I did here is I compared Baker's stats in his career to Mariota's stats when he was in Tennessee, because Mariota the last 2 years in Vegas has thrown like 30 passes total. So not really important to include those numbers. And if you compare them, Mayfield's career versus Mariota's career when he was a Titan, pretty similar, but I got to give the edge to Mayfield. All right, maybe a ding in completion percentage, but more touchdowns, a little more interceptions, and a better record-ish. I don't think these two are wildly far apart, but Mariota also has only thrown like 30 passes in the last 2 years. Is he ready to be an every down quarterback again? The other thing I think about is the Atlanta Falcons. They don't really seem like a tanking kind of organization, right? They hold themselves to a little bit of a higher standards than like the Jacksonville Jaguars do, where they're like, all right, we lost the first game of the season. Let's go lose 15 more and get the first overall pick again. That's just not the Falcons' MO. So if Atlanta feels that Mayfield is an upgrade and they don't want to mess around with Mariota because we signed him, but let's not make go all in on Mariota. We can fix this mistake early on. Let's go get Baker right now. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll get to my third team in just a second. But if you guys are looking for free Browns content throughout the lunar calendar with the latest Browns news and rumors, and you want to be a part of the fastest growing Browns channel, according to my team of researchers and scientists that include myself, and that's about it, then make sure you are subscribed today. That way you never miss a single breaking Browns news or rumor story here on YouTube. Third Baker trade destination, the Carolina Panthers. So you're probably thinking, Matthew, the Panthers already said that they're not interested in Baker. That's funny. I also remember a time not long ago where Deshaun Watson said he wasn't going to Cleveland. And where Russell Wilson said he wants to finish his career in Seattle. Funny how things change sometimes in the NFL. The knock with Carolina is that do they want to, repeat history again? They traded 3 picks, a second rounder, a fourth and a sixth, I think, for Sam Darnold a year ago. And that didn't work out well. And these are, I wouldn't say similar players in Darnold and Mayfield. Mayfield's had a better career up to this point. But Sam Darnold, funny enough, is the most expensive player on their books. They're kind of stuck with him, at least for now. Right? They can't just go out and cut him. Well, they're not going to save much money doing so. They don't have much of a better option than just bring Sam Darnold back, but also bring in heavy competition. The reason why I think the Panthers may be open to trading for Baker Mayfield is that they had the 6th pick in the draft. And let's say they want to get Malik Willis. But you know what? The Giants at 5 go, we don't have faith in Daniel Jones. New regime here. Producer Marsh, Giants guy, probably doesn't want to see that happen, Marsh, right? No, he's shaking his head. But you can't put it past Joe Shane and Brian Dable, the new guys in the Meadowlands. Maybe Matt Rule is desperate. Maybe Matt Rule goes, you know what? I'm panicking here because I feel my seat getting pretty hot. And I don't want my last year to be riding with Sam Darnold after what we saw from him a year ago. So if those, dominoes fall where they go all in on Willis or Pickett and it gets picked before them, then they have to make a draft day trade, right? Maybe then they go, Baker's plan C. Even though we said we didn't want him, we have to take it. Well, what about this question for you? We'll look at comparing Baker to Darnold in just a second, but is Baker a top 16 quarterback in the NFL? Is he top half or bottom half? If you think he's top half, put T for top. If you think he's in the bottom half of the league, put B for bottom. We're talking about the 2018 NFL draft class right here. First overall, and Darnold just a couple picks later to the Jets. Now, Baker has played more games than Darnold. Baker also didn't get mono, so that's a factor in that. But when you look at the two numbers here, the numbers, it's not close. Baker's a better quarterback. This is not a subjective thing to say. The only issue is Baker costs more than Darnold, and the Panthers gave up draft picks last year to get Darnold, and are they about to do the same thing again, right? I think they may have a bit of fear of falling down the same well again. So that's why I think the Panthers may hold on to their cards. But if they want a better quarterback, it's Baker. There's no doubt about it. Now, I've got two dark horse teams. I was thinking about trade destinations, and then I saw a good article from Sports Illustrated from the Browns Fan Nation that put out two interesting trade dark horse destinations for Baker Mayfield. Those are the Tennessee Titans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll talk more about them in just a second, but the NFL draft is coming up. And you know when players walk across the stage and they put on their hat and they give Goodell a big-ass hug and they go, please don't find me in his ear? Well, if you want to do that minus the fine, get the hat right now at chatsports.com/BrownsHat. Links in the comments and the description. You can't miss it. Wear the same hats. I know some people don't like these hats. Unpopular opinion, I like them. I like the cursive letter of the city name on top of the team name. All right, Cleveland Browns, I like the hat. If you do too, chatsports.com/BrownsHat. So Brandon Little, who talked about these dark horse destinations for Baker, here's what he had to say. Mayfield could sit behind Brady for this season, maybe even playing in some mop-up duty. If the Buccaneers felt good enough about his future, they could sign Mayfield to an extension. It would be a fresh start for Mayfield, and the Buccaneers would have something to work with after Brady is gone. Baker's going to get dealt somewhere. I don't know how likely Tampa Bay is because Tom Brady is there, and I know he's old. But we also know Tom can be a bit jealous of a player. He doesn't like the idea of teams drafting his replacement while he's still there. Right? The Patriots jumped the gun on getting Jimmy G in the second round, and all he did was play, I think, 4 games when Brady was suspended for Deflategate. So it seems to me like Brady's not going to be jumping up and down about a team trading draft capital away to help them win while he's still there to get his replacement. It doesn't seem like he'll be something on board with. As for the Titans, I've got them at number 5 in my ranking of trade destinations. They've got Ryan Tannehill. I know Tannehill choked in the playoffs this past season, but I don't think Tennessee's going to sit down and go, ooh, Tannehill for the contract he already has, or Baker Mayfield for $18 million, and we have to give up draft picks. Yeah, let's go with that option. I just think they're going to stick it out with Tannehill and hope for the best in that department. Wrap up the show here. It is almost Final Four weekend, so I just want to know what you guys have to think on this one. Who you got? Who you got winning the big dance here? 4 teams left. Let me know who you think it is. I can't wait to see Duke UNC play. Nova, Kansas, we get some blue bloods there. I'm a Tennessee guy, so super pumped not to see Kentucky a part of the blue bloods dance. For me personally, I just don't want to see Duke win. I don't want to see Coach K scold his kids for celebrating after winning a championship. It would be pretty poetic for Duke, for Coach K to lose right down the stretch. Not a Duke guy. If you're a Duke guy, you're probably yelling at the screen right now. I don't blame you. That's going to do it for us here on today's show. We're going to catch up with you later with the latest Cleveland Browns news and rumors.